What's up team, Nick Cheadle here with 5 tips for a stronger squat.
That boy is Benny Hanna.
First one, we want to develop a patterned approach to squatting. And what I mean by that, and what I mean when I talk about this in regards to all of the major movements, is we want to develop really good habits and treat every single rep as if it were the same. Which means basically every time we go to lift a weight, we're treating it as if we're lifting a 1 rep max. We want to practice these good habits at lighter loads so that as those loads get heavier, you'll see that we can implement the exact same habits, the exact same movements, the exact same way to squat. Ideally, the only thing that we want to be changing is the load on the bar, not the way that we go about squatting it. So all of the squats you'll see over the course of this video, when I go to setup, all the way through my setup before I squat, during my squat, the way that I execute my squat and then re-rack the bar, all exactly the same. So get into the habit of building on good habits by doing the exact same thing every single time you squat. Two, minimize any fidgeting and movement before and during your squatting. Once you've taken the bar out of the rack, step back into position, allow the bar to settle. Make sure that everything is super still. Make sure that you're nice and composed, you're well balanced, and you're actually ready to begin executing a squat. I see lots and lots of people, particularly in commercial gyms, fidgeting, moving around, rocking side to side. At the end of the day, all that's gonna do is contribute to throwing you off balance. So make sure that you're standing up nice and tall, nice and ready to squat, with big toes pressing down into the floor. Make sure that your eyes are fixed and that nothing is moving if it doesn't need to be.
There you go, really nice. Good, hold it, hold it. Tight, better. Good man.
The next thing we're going to talk about is breathing and how you can use it to your advantage. Typically when we first set foot in the gym, we tend to be taught to breathe in on the easy part of the exercise and breathe out on the hard part of the exercise. So with a squat, you'd be thinking about breathing in on the way down, breathing out on the way back up. But typically we are strongest when things aren't moving, and that includes the muscles that we use to breathe. So when it comes to building strength and being as strong and as rigid as possible so that we can translate force through the bar, we want to think about taking a big deep breath in, bracing hard through our core and our back muscles, and then holding onto that breath for the duration of the rep. Once we get through 1 rep, then we can obviously breathe out, reset, and go again.
Squat.
Yeah. The next thing I want to talk about is creating tension, and this relates pretty closely to the previous point I made in regards to breathing, because we can use our breathing to help with creating tension. And when it comes to hitting the bottom of a squat, we want to make sure that our body is nice and tight. If our body and our upper body isn't tight and a rigid structure, then chances are as we go to push, effectively all we're going to do is crumple our upper body into the bar and we're going to get flattened. Obviously the last thing that we want to do. So we want to think about creating as much tension through our upper body as possible. So you'll see before each and every one of my squats, I think about taking a big deep breath in and really filling up my diaphragm. From there, I'm bracing hard against the belt. As if someone was standing in front of me about to punch me in the guts as hard as they possibly can. That's pretty much how you want to brace, as if someone's standing in front of you about to punch you. You want to get prepared for that impact. And then from there, you want to think about pulling the bar down onto your back as hard as you possibly can and maintaining that position. What that does is obviously turns the front of your core on, as well as the back by pulling the bar down onto your back. A lot of people, when they first come into the gym, tend to squat with a nice proud chest. Now that might help with activating your lower back and even your upper back if you're pulling the bar down really, really hard. But in reality, to get into that extended position through your lower back, your core at the front has to actually relax, which means if you're squatting in a super upright position, you aren't actually overly in a strong position because your core isn't engaged. So we want to think about taking our rib cage down toward our pelvis, not quite so that we're doing a crunch, but we do want to make sure that we can be in a position where we can brace as if we were bracing for impact, pull the bar down as hard as possible, hold onto that breath the entire time, hit that squat with some speed, and then with that tension, you'll find that you can come out of the bottom of the squat far more quickly.
Squat. Speed. Drive forward. Good, well done.
Last thing I want to touch on is to make sure that you treat every single rep as if it were a separate event. Particularly for strength training, it really is going to be of huge benefit to make sure that every single rep you are putting yourself in the strongest position possible. Do that by taking a big deep breath, bracing hard, executing that rep to the best of your ability, breathing out, and then resetting and going again. There's no brownie points for getting through a set more quickly than the previous one. You simply want to look at practicing brilliant habits, refining your technique, and actually building strength by targeting the muscles that you want to be working rather than simply trying to smash through a set as quickly as possible to get it over and done with.